Hey vintage snowmobile fans, I got something special to show you, a very collectible snowmobile. This is a 1977 Scorpion Bullwhip. And a bullwhip is a specific model for cross-country racing. Not roundy round, like was done at the time, but this was what we call a terrain racer. A terrain racer goes from point A to point B, and those 2 points are far away. And to give you a sense of that, this machine actually has 2 gas tanks, one here and one here, because of the fuel that they need to go these long distances. So this characterizes a terrain racer. This is a 1977 model, the only year that they made this particular model. And it's very desirable in the collector world because of its sleek design. You know, it's low down, it's wide, it has, you know, coloration that is very attractive here. Now, this one is very unique, and I need to explain why. The machines the motors that were in these bullwhips had a problem, a serious problem. And many of the ones you're going to see at shows and stuff don't have the original motor. The problem was that Cayuna company, you know, the company up in northern Minnesota that made most Scorpion, and they made the motors. This was an experimental motor. It was a rotary valve motor, their first go at this. Now, Skidoo had rotary valve motors at the time, but this is different than that disc that goes around. The concept with the bullwhip was to have a crankshaft that had large lobes on it, throw fuel, air and fuel, into the crankcase, and this would blow up into the combustion chamber, bang, and you produce horsepower. The duration of that was extended by virtue of this unique motor. It required very tight tolerances, you know, between crankshaft, crankcase, and cylinder head. And therein lies the problem with the motor. In cross-country racing, they would have to stop. There was fuel stops. Even these 2 gas tanks weren't enough. And the rules were that you had to turn the motor off, and then you put gas in both tanks, start it up, and go away. The problem with the motor was that when it was heat soaked, when it was good and warm, it wouldn't start. The crankcase aluminum would expand, and the tolerances got too great, and it wouldn't pump up that fuel, as I just described. What would happen is they'd be pulling, backfire, that ended the race. So a lot of these machines you will find, as I said, in shows that were with the incorrect motor. Collectible, yes, even with, you know, the wrong motor in it, because it was understood that you pretty much, if you're going to make this a functional machine, had to replace the motor. So why don't we come in and I'll show you an example of that very thing. So come on in here. I'm going to open up this hood and show you this one. Now this is not the original motor. This actually is a Chaparral motor, and you know, from one end to the other, you know, clutch and motor. So what I heard in this particular instance was that this thing was returned to the factory. The factory, you know, had a lot of, you know, irate customers, and they would then sell the machine without a motor. It was probably maybe even the next year, doesn't matter. And here is an example of an independent racer who says, you know, I like the sled, I like the design, etc. I'll put my own motor in. And this is a Chaparral motor with these big pipes. And there's a video here where you can hear it, and it sounds very impressive. So I just wanted to give you an indication of this little tiny piece of history, the Scorpion Bullwhip, and make this explanation. If you see a bullwhip at a show or a ride, and it doesn't have the right motor, don't be too concerned about that. I mean, this was just the nature of the beast. So thanks for listening.